So last lesson, and a few lessons before that, we were focusing on adding, subtracting integers. And we learnt that when we had two signs next to each other, that they changed. A plus and a minus sign next to each other became a minus. And two minus signs next to each other became a plus. Okay? Now we're going to do multiplying and dividing by an integer. And some of the rules are going to look really similar, but you have to be careful that you don't get mixed up with your adding and subtracting. Okay? So let's first of all fill in the blanks. The product, hands up. What does the word product mean? Yes. To multiply. Now I'm not going to write the whole word multiply in there. I'm going to put a multiplication sign. So the product means to multiply. Or quotient, hands up, means, yes, to divide. Oh, thank you. The product or quotient of two numbers of the same sign, so that means they're both positive or they're both negative, is always a positive number. Wait. There you go. Always a positive number. Now this is going to look different to the adding and subtracting. When we had 3 minus 4, the two minus signs were next to each other. They had to be right next to each other to become a plus. When you're multiplying, they're not going to be right next to each other. That's the difference, okay? So you're going to see, like in B, I've got a minus here and a minus 4 there. As long as both of the numbers that you are multiplying are negative, it's going to make a positive answer. The signs don't have to be written right next to each other like they were when we were doing the other types of questions. Can you see the difference? Mm-hmm. No?
So that -3 times -4 would still be a positive.
Correct. So, all right, let's start at the beginning. 3 times 4. Normal times tables, no minus signs in there. 3 times 4 is equal to 12. Okay, they're both positive numbers. I get a normal positive 12 as my answer. What the rule is saying is if I have a negative, and see I'm going to highlight it, I've got a -3 and a -4. So I have two minus signs. That means my answer is going to become a plus, and 3 times 4 is still 12. So what you do is you work out the sign first. Is it going to be positive or negative? And then you just times the numbers like normal. Okay? So if there's two minus signs, it's going to become a plus. So in C, it's a normal 5 and a normal 7, a plus 5 and a plus 7. So it's going to be a positive answer. And 5 times 7 is 35. Okay, but in D, again, you can see the minus signs, a -4 and a -6. The two minuses are going to become a plus, so don't worry about that anymore. And we do 4 times 6 is 24. Okay, so you can put a little reminder in a little box next to there. This looks very much the same as what we had before. Two pluses, two positive numbers, you're going to get a positive answer. Two negative numbers, and you're also going to get a positive answer.
Even if they're like not next to each other.
Even if they're, sorry, what?
Not next to each other.
As long as they're being multiplied, a negative number and a negative number will become a positive number. The minus signs won't be next to each other. Yes, that's right.
But so if the minus signs aren't together, it doesn't matter. Just do the
Yes.
How does it work?
All right. We'll wait on that. We'll come back to that. Let's have a look at the next type as well. Okay, just while we're going. The other type of question is if we want to do the product or quotient, which means multiply or divide again. If I want to multiply or divide two numbers that have the opposite sign. So that means that one's a positive and one's a negative. Then you will always get a negative answer. So this will be when you have a positive number and a negative number, or a negative and then a positive. Both of those types, your answer is going to be a negative result. Okay, so let's have a look. In A, you can see that there's a minus sign on that 3, which means I have one minus sign. But the 4 has no minus sign. That means it's positive, okay? No minus sign there means a positive. So I have a minus and a plus that I'm multiplying, which means my answer is going to be negative. I've worked out the sign first. I haven't even worried about the numbers yet. All I've done is look at the signs. Okay? I'm multiplying a negative number and a positive number, so I'm going to get a negative answer. And then I multiply the numbers. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, we haven't done this one yet, but there's a divide there. Divide works the same way. 15, there's no minus sign. That's a positive number. But the 3 has a negative sign in front of it. One of them is positive, one of them is negative, which means my answer will be negative. Okay, work that part out first. Always work the sign out first. Then you do the division. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Work out the sign, then work out the number. Okay? Part C, looking at the minus signs. The 7 is positive, the 6 has a minus. So we have a plus and a minus again. So my answer is going to be negative. Okay, so negative, I put that in there. I'm timesing again, so I'm back to a multiplication sign. So now I times the numbers. 7 times 6 is 42. And D, I have a minus sign on the 63, but the 9 doesn't have one, so it's positive. One's a minus, one's a plus, so it's going to be a negative answer. Put a minus sign in. Now, because I have a divide, I want to divide the numbers. 63 divided by 9 is 7. So I already had the minus sign, 7 for the number. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Just be careful you're not mixing up with your adding and subtracting. So now you need to get out your work booklet. There is 4 pages there. What I would like you to do is I'd like you to do the first page, page 29 there, and then I want you to stop and I want you to check your answers. Okay, just to make sure that you're getting your signs right. Most of you will find that you'll do the multiplying and the dividing part right. The part where you're likely to get confused is when is it a plus and when is it a minus. Okay, so do the first page and check. Then do the second page, which is dividing, and check. Once you get past there, that's great. If everyone gets to there, I'll be really happy. The third page, I'd like you just to do as much as you can. There's just heaps of them there. All those brackets, what do the brackets mean? Yeah. Normally it would, but the only thing inside there is like a -6. Different books like to write the questions differently. So this came out of a different book to these questions before. So these ones didn't have brackets around their minus signs. But this book, where I got these ones from, they like to put brackets around their minus signs. It means the same thing, and it's good for you to see different ways of writing the same question. So really those brackets aren't changing the question at all. You can ignore that they're there and just go, that one's a negative number, that one's a positive number, so I'm going to get a -16.
If we don't get that...
If you don't get that one completely finished, you could maybe do a few minutes for homework, but it doesn't need to be completely finished. And if you even get that one done, because some of you, not all of you, but some of you might be quite fast at this. This one here is, I guess, the puzzle. It's multiplication.
So is that like...
This is optional if you have time, okay? So only if you get that far, you can try that one.